Today we went to two locations. The first one was the Blues Museum in Memphis. We got to see a lot of people who played a big part in the African American music culture. Some of the founding members of like the ideas of soul, blues, stuff like that. Which was kind of nice to go and see like the foundation of those music genres, because I personally enjoy a good bit of like punk and goth and similar music genres, and that all stems from that. These genres may not have always been started by African American individuals, but their music played a huge part in shaping what it meant to be goth, to be punk, to be all these kind of counterculture ideas. A lot of them take roots in like England or whatever, but the foundation of what makes the music of that genre comes from a mix of soul and blues and other things. I think it was really cool to see some of the personal belongings of individuals that were popular at the time. Clothing, guitars, well, instruments in general. Also, like the car. I think it was just cool to see a car spinning. For me, I found this museum to be a little educational. I didn't have time to go through everything, but it was also, unlike the other museums, it was lighthearted in a good way. It didn't need to, like, I don't want to say ruin your day like it's bad, but, you know, tug at the heartstrings as much. Our second place was the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis. There, the first place we went to is, from what he was talking about and I caught, in like an experimental location for someone who came before or was beside MLK and Malcolm X and similar figures, but isn't or wasn't covered that much in that museum, and they were giving him or working on getting him a section. I'm happy for that. I'm glad, because the only way to, you know, be the most up-to-date in civil rights and be the most woke or whatever you want to call it is to realize when you're missing something and add it. You're missing XYZ person, event, town, you add it. You research it and you add it. But the next exhibit we went into was really, it was a very visceral feel, because I feel like that's the right word, maybe it's not word mongering, but seeing the slave statues like under the ship and hearing that whimpering and that whipping sound, it was like, my head went almost like 180 when I first heard it. I was like, what? There's no way I'm hearing that, right? And it is just a part of our history that's dark and horrible. And seeing that, if I remember off the top of my head, like 6 gold coins of some type could buy a slave, which could get you like a crap ton of stuff, but I don't know, it's sick to think that humans were able to be bought as well. After we got done, I didn't get off the floor. I was like almost done with the wall. We went into this movie theater that talked about, it's kind of like the history of it all. And I guess also the importance of being an activist today. And with that, they brought up some like very important things I haven't actually thought about, but the fact that like when our founding fathers came together, they wanted unalienable rights. They said all men are created equal. But then you have both women and men, based on whether it's their gender or their race, unable to attain certain rights. In fact, they weren't even considered men, they were considered property, which is even more bizarre. Which became law after Plessy versus Ferguson, when the Supreme Court thought, you know what we should do? Consider African Americans property, which is beyond disgusting. I have such disdain for the individuals who played such a negative part in our history. Some other things they talked about was like the poll tax, the literacy test, and then there's a third one I can't remember off the top of my head. But these things were used to keep, grandfather clause. And these were used to keep African Americans from voting and changing the world probably in a better place, or a better way. And unfortunately, people are still trying to propose or work in similar things even today, whether through extra documents, testing. Like there's some people who, they would be probably the liberal that Malcolm X talked about, the wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing, where they're like, these conservatives are so fucking stupid, we should have a literacy test, or some type of test. And they don't realize they're doing the exact same thing that the people they think are stupid would have done back in the day. And because it's not just going to affect them, it's going to affect everyone. Especially those who don't have English as a first language. And it's crazy to think that can still stay in our society today. I can't remember all the exhibits in order, but another one that stuck out to me was, and freaked me out, was the Rosa Parks bust one. There was by all of these like wall exhibits, there was a bus that you can go in, and you would have like a statue that represented Rosa Parks, and then the bus driver who was like, you kept hearing this clanging sound and him freaking out on her. I don't know, it actually made me very angry. Like just hearing that, like I know it's a statue, and I know it's like, pre-recorded sound or whatever. I wanted to hit the statue. It was just enraging me that much, that I had to like get off the bus. There were some other things we learned about, like the Bloody Sunday, where we watched the military tear gas and beat and probably brutally murder a bunch of people that day. I ran out of time towards the end of the walkthrough. It's worth a second visit. And as someone who has been tear gassed, it is, and I don't know if they use the same formula that did back then, but it is such a horrendous feeling. Like I had it for probably like 10, 20 seconds. Unbearable. Burning, like it burns down your throat. Your eyes feel like there's like fingers being jabbed into them. Your nose feels like it's been expanded to let more in. And like, no matter how much you try to hold it, you can still feel it. Like, when you get, even if it stays on you, the one that I experienced, and I flapping my arms, we had to wipe down. That stuff isn't just a gas that you breathe in and breathe out. It sticks to you. So, and I'm sure the clothing back then absorbed it even worse. That burning sensation across their like chest, probably arms and legs. And the fact that our military, and again, a common theme is that our military is helping brutalize people in a horrible way. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Another exhibit, this one that made me very emotional, was Malcolm X's room. We gotta walk by it, and when we were going through there, we got to read about kind of like the day he had. Such a mundane day. Joking and laughing with your friends and colleagues. And the idea that his life was snuffed out in this moment, like, boom, gone. I couldn't imagine, like, I know this is going to be kind of weird to like think about, but in, what is it called? There's an Amazon show with like Homelander and stuff in it. One of the male main characters at the very first episode, he's talking with his girlfriend. They're like leaving the store a Monday, like they're joking and stuff, like the mundane life. And she steps out in the street, and boom, she's gone. And it's because like a superhero ran through her and stuff like that. And it kind of gives that same kind of feel, like the moment, like someone you cherish as a friend or partner, and then they're gone. His brother was there, imagine having a sibling, a parent, an uncle, and then they're just gone. It's not like, and it's worse, I feel like that's worse because you witness it. It's not just they're there one moment and they're gone the next. Excuse me, the door opened with my hand. It's very much you're talking to them and then silence. And reading about how, because he's a reverend. I never thought he would be someone who would have had as much fun, or besides, I see him as a compassionate person, but not someone who indulges in the fun parts of life just because reverend part of his name. I don't know. I actually started crying, and then looking in that room, frozen in time, it makes me think of all the parents who lose their kids and they just can't bear to change that room. It's frozen in time. And I think they replicated the room, so it's not the exact same, but it has the same vibe, that not being able to let go, which I think is actually important in this case. Something else I guess I want to reflect on is that this place actually has quite a few books, and they have a lot of merchandise, like all museums do, or almost all. And across the way there was this bench that was talking about, it was like upset that they had merchandise. For me personally, as long as it's being used to go back to the museum, I don't care. But I do like that some of the merchandise wasn't just a t-shirt with our museum on it, a sock with our museum on it. They had actual books about civil rights leaders or people who helped, pave the path we have today and we're still working on. Like I got a friend of mine bought me a book. It was an autobiography of Malcolm X, or by Malcolm X, I guess, because it's his. And I plan on reading it. They had a book over the Black Panthers, which I know they had a section on it, on the Black Panthers. I took pictures of it. I already know about the Black Panthers. Yes, they used violence to protect themselves, but also they gave healthcare out to their community. They had food kitchens. I see them as an reasonable and expectation that or something that should have been expected during the time. You're brutalizing a community and you're mad they came together to defend themselves. It wasn't like they walked into a school and wiped it all out. They didn't do that. We did that to them, though. I know about that. Police went in, they shot up a bunch of the members. I know about that. But it goes back to, I think in a previous one where we talked about how there's no way to make generational wealth. That's part of it. They build a community, whether it is not one set in stone like a town, it's a group of people who just came together in the same kind of word, like Black Panther, and we murder them just for that. And it's sad that we don't have as active of a Black Panther party. I don't know if it's still the same one or if it's shut down or if it's on a minuscule scale now, but it's sad that we've torn that away from them, especially because we've never given them any kind of reparations. I think my last note is I enjoyed the silence. We had the music, but I don't know, just hearing that music while walking through the Martin Luther King quiet moment, I guess is a good way of putting it. It's nice. I think this trip, just saying it at this point, has made me want to not only write about these kind of things, I want to do civil rights work both through writing and donating, but I also want to, hopefully in the future, have a time for myself to go out and join in with local communities and what their projects are. I have notes on the environmental organization that came and visited with our Women's Federate class that I would like to have a chance to go to, but probably not anytime soon, unfortunately. But until then, I'm going to continue doing civil rights research on my own. Whether I do my own Maymester kind of thing on my own time, my own money, going to these museums or locations with myself or maybe a friend, I'm going to keep doing it. I think this trip has opened my eyes to, I knew it was bad, but not that bad. But that's the end of this video. See you in my next one. Bye.